So, where is my face not to be seen? Yes. So, in the Panchakosha, which is the basis for the integrated approach of yoga therapy, we see the next kosha today, which is the Pranamaya Kosha, which is the sheet or the kosha, the layer of the vital life force energy. What are all we are going to see here about the nadis, which are the channels for the prana, chakras, and the prana. Of course, upapranas are there, which we may not see in this course. So, the Prashnopanishad. Of course, in Taittiriya, we understood that Bhrigu understands that this prana is something more important next than the Annam, the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body. Prano Brahme Divyajanat, Prana Deva Kalvimani Bhutani Jayante, Prana Deva Jatani Jivanti, Pranam Prayat Visham Vishanti. He understands that it is prana which is more important than the physical body. Similarly, out of the 10 major Upanishads, we see the Prashnopanishad, which is dealing with the concept of prana much more among the Upanishads. Prashnopanishad. In fact, all Upanishads are Prashnottara format only. Most Upanishads, all Upanishads are in the question answer, the Samvada Rupam only. But particularly the Prashnopanishad itself is given the name as Prashnopanishad. Here, the main concept, each Upanishad will have one major concept. For example, Taittiriya Upanishad is the happiness, the Ananda aspect, and then the Panchakosha. These are the main contribution of Taittiriya Upanishad. Now, Prashnopanishad's main contribution is the concept of prana, where it says, Pranasya idam vashe sarvam tridive yat pratishtitam. Mateva putran rakshasva shrischa prajnanscha videhina iti. Videhinam iti is there, okay. Videhina iti. English, I should correct it. The most of you who have done your YAC or any course from Svyasa school, usually we chant this before the practice of pranayama. This mantra from the Prashnopanishad is chanted, so you must be familiar. Others, once we will chant this also, I shall lead now. You can repeat. Pranasyedam vashe sarvam Tridive yat pratishtitam Mateva putran rakshasva Shrischa prajnamscha videhina iti. So, pranasya idam vashe sarvam. Prana is that which exists everywhere. Vashe sarvam. Sarvam pranamayam idam jagat. Particularly, tridive yat pratishtitam. The three worlds. Here there is a mention of three worlds. Means the upper worlds. We have Bu, Buvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. These are the 7 worlds upper. These are 7. You can consider them to be worlds or levels of higher consciousness. In Dhyanam, in meditation, if you see these words are, the syllables are there in the Gayatri Mantram. Bu, Buvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. In fact, the traditional Vedic mantra for pranayama. There is a pranayama mantra, the Vedic mantra, which traditionally they use during Sandhya Vandanam and Puja, Vidhi and all. It has Bu, Om, Buhu, Om, Buvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. Then Tatsavidurvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. It goes like this. So there the 7 levels of higher consciousness are mentioned. So these are considered to be an upper world. You can consider them to be a world. The Puranic stories mention them to be world, but the Upanishads and in the concept philosophy, we see them to be 7 levels of higher consciousness. Similarly, the lower consciousness. In negative, Patanti Narake Shuchau. Krishna also in the Gita, Urdhvam Gachanti Sattvastaha. Madhye Tishtanti Rajasaha. Then he says about the people who are in the tamas. So they go down. Patanti Narakesha Narakalokas are the Atala Vitala Sutala Rasatala Taladala Patala, what we say, the 7 down. And in between both the upper and the lower consciousness is this world of our human existence, which is the Martya Lokam. So, considering to be the 3 worlds, which is the 7 worlds upward, the 7 worlds downward, or the 7 levels of higher consciousness, 7 levels of lower human consciousness, and in between the moderate, where the earth, the bhumi is there. So all these are, prana is not just in this bhumi, right? Prana is there in the higher worlds also, prana is in the lower worlds also. Lower the energy. When you have a low energy, you feel you are going downward. Higher and higher energy, we go up and then we are going up. So energy is there everywhere, whether it is high or low, whether it is Swarga or Naraka or Bhumi, energy is there everywhere. Pranasya idam vashe sarvam. Tridive yat pratishtitam. To this prana, the prarthana, the Upanishad here makes a prarthana. O prana, right? Protect me, rakshasva, rakshasva, protect me. How you should protect me? Mateva putran rakshasva, like a mother protects her child. Mateva putran rakshasva, how a mother protects her. That also here the son, not the daughter. Sometimes when you have a son and daughter, mothers are more, nowadays concerned about the son, because in nowadays their daughters. In those days, son more, because the daughter will go away to other house, and son will be with her and take care of her more, right? So mother shows sometimes more. Those days, mother shows partiality more to the sons. So here, let us take it neutrally instead of putra or putri, though it's mentioned as putra, but as a child. Like the mother protects her child. Give us Shri'scha Prajnamscha. Shri and Prajna. Shri is what? Shri is Lakshmi. So all the sampat, the well-being which we require for our worldly life here, the Ashta Lakshmis, Dana Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi, Veera Lakshmi, Vijay Lakshmi, Saubhagya Lakshmi, Aishwarya Lakshmi, all whatever, Griha Lakshmi, ultimately Moksha Lakshmi. It's well-being, right? Shri. Shri is very important for our life to be in a very nice way here in the world. Is Shri alone enough? Shri'scha Prajnascha. Only when you have intelligence, right, to earn. Now you have earned more. Ambani has earned more. He had the intelligence to spend it also, to celebrate the one wedding of his son, months together, pre-wedding, actual wedding. I hope post-wedding also might happen. Hopefully the post-wedding should be the Simanta for that, because they are engaged since long time, so many years. And get everyone, all celebrities to come and dance there, and all kind of pomp and show. So the samarthyam to earn the Shri, and then the basic is intelligence, prajna. So Lakshmi and Saraswati. So in this mantra, you see prana, mateva putran, the mother prana is Durga. And Shri, Lakshmi and Prajna, Saraswati, 3 Devis are mentioned in a subtle way, right? That's how I see it. So it tells about how prana, when you have the energy, it can bring you even Shri. Doesn't mean, even the materialistic comforts. It requires that energy, intelligence, education. It requires that energy. So ultimately, prana is everything. Of course, the Upanishad goes on to say a lot, in fact, how the prana enters during the child, in the fetus, when in the womb of the mother. At what stage the prana enters? When someone dies, at what stage the prana goes away? So everything is very well detailed explained there. We will not go into those details. We understand, therefore, prana is the vital life force energy. How do we call it in English? Prana is not the breath. Many people make this mistake. Just considering prana to be the breath. No doubt, breath is the child of prana. Breath is child of prana, but breath is not prana. And for when you say pranayama, your pranayama is not just a breathing exercise. In fact, this very course, I thought I should commence doing it only when I heard during the Yoga Shakti Sangama, one of the invited speakers who was supposed to teach a pranayama class, she was telling prana is breath and pranayama is breathing exercise after completing her master's degree in yoga. That is where I was really rather surprised and said, okay, let me, but in fact, I expected she should come to this course because she thinks that she has learned and she has been an invited presenter also. She didn't come. But senior teachers like Geeta, Satish and everyone are coming here to the class again and studying here. So that is the thing. People, who know not, they think that they know it. People who know it still think there is something more for me to learn, something more for me to explore, right? Anyhow, so prana is therefore the vital life force energy, which is the medium of the cosmic energy. There is energy everywhere. The cosmic, we have seen already in the cosmos, right? Akasha, then Vayu. That Vayu is considered, the wind in by and large is considered to be the energy of the cosmos, which we call it as the cosmic energy, we can call. Or there is another term, more refined, is Mukhya Prana. Whom do we call in deity worship? We call Hanuman as Mukhya Prana, right? Because he is Vayu Putra. So, this prana, vital life force energy, when it comes to our body, in the pranamaya kosha, the area where it is encompassed is called as the pranamaya kosha. So, prana comes from these two words, the pra and na, which means prana is used to denote the constancy and na is movement. So, there's a constant movement which is existing. So, prana is a force that is in constant movement. It doesn't stop. It becomes speed or slow, but there's a constant movement, like a vibration moving to and fro without any interception. Prana is a subtle electromagnetic vibration that animates or manifests all life. Seeing that, we now move to the next aspect in understanding the pranamaya kosha. That prana is a subtle vital life force energy, which is present all around. In fact, it is where outside, it is inside, both, right? It is without and within. But when it comes to within, in our human body, when it comes, how is the prana moving? In this, I said it is moving. It denotes the movement. So how does it denotes the movement? It is moving to the channels called the nadis. And therefore, it is important to understand these nadis. What is nadi? Nadi is nothing but nadi is the channel for pranic energy to move. It actually means like a stream of energy. It also, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also says that nadis are like as fine as hairs. What is the size of the nadi or something? It says it is as fine as each nadi is just as fine. How minute, how fine is our hair? So it is that very fine is each nadi. So a total of 72,000 nadis are recorded in our Yoga Shastra, which distribute the life force through the whole body to everywhere. Prana Saidam Vashe Sarvam. But everywhere, how the prana goes? Through the channel of these nadis. The subtle nadis of the yogic tradition, we have again two channels of nadis. One is called the Pranavaha nadis, another is Manavaha nadis. Pranavaha nadis carry the pranic vital force, and Manavaha nadis carry the mental Shakti, the mental forces. The vital force, the prana, is carried through one set of nadis, and there are subtle kind of mental mind vibrations or emotions are carried through the Manavaha nadis. You don't have to bother about those too much. Just if you understand that nadis are the channels for prana to flow all through the body. And similarly, we see here another mention in the Kathopanishad also that 101 arteries are there of the heart. One of them leads up towards the crown of the head, going upward, and that one becomes immortal. Hmm? Just to say that this concept is there everywhere, don't worry about that. We will see it later in a different context. But more important is to know that we have the pranas flowing through the channels of nadis. The source of the nadis in the astral body or the Sukshma Sharira is an egg-shaped center of nerves. In fact, usually people relate nadis with nerves in the anatomical language, the nerves, but usually great seers don't accept this that nerves are nadis because nerves are still in the Annamaya Kosha, nadis are in the Pranamaya Kosha, subtler to that. So we see that the Merudanda, the spine, what we have to the bottom of the spine, from where the Mooladhara chakra starts, just above the Mooladhara, from there is a Kandasthana in which the nadis starts evolving and then it spread around the whole body. But the emergence of the nadi is from this Kandasthana, which is between the anus and the reproductive organ. It's not in the physical body, but the subtle body. Just imagine the subtle body, the astral body which is located within the physical body, but which could be taken out also. The subtle body, astral body can be brought out. Yogis have demonstrated taking out the astral body. They can do astral travels. Right? All those are possible. So that is the location from where the 72,000 nadis emerge. And we understand there are 14 main channels. And Shiva Samhita and Darshana Upanishad, they all mention about 14 main channels of the subtle nadis. And out of which it is very important to note down the 3 major channels. We have many nadis which we have, very popularly we heard, but 3 major nadis are Sushumna, Ida, Pingala, which I'm sure all of us are familiar, right? We also have heard of sometimes Vajranadi. They say when we do Vajrasana, the Vajranadi gets opened. Many people, in spite of their efforts to memorize or recollect memory, people don't get easily to remember. I would have been in a class with another, in my kind of student days when I used to study. Even now I study, but then the actual going to college or school and then studying there, at that point of time, I used to think, we both would have gone to the class, both would have been there. The next day, sometimes I would be able to recollect something and this fellow, why is he not able to recollect? After so many years, I would have told to my students, suppose next class, after 5-6 months, we meet and then I ask you something, what did we learn in this class? You will be thinking, yeah, Bhaiya, why are you asking all those and embarrassing us? Of course, because I keep repeating the same class after class, that's one advantage with teaching more. So we'll remember. Not just that, there are many things which I may not be applying in teaching today. Remembrance, recollection from the memory happens. Some people, they put efforts a lot, but then still they will not be able to remember and recollect because they say there is a block in the nadi called the Vajra Nadi. So to open up the Vajra Nadi, Vajrasana helps. If you see most of the reading in those days, the reading of the scriptures, they would happen by doing in Vajrasana. Even that's where I think the Islamic tradition also, they have copied from our tradition, sitting in Vajrasana and doing the Quran or Namaz and all. We have left it. When you sit in Vajrasana, whatever is in your Pustaka will get transferred to your Mastaka. Pustaka to Mastaka and uploading happens. So for students, generally, it really enhances their memory, which I have personally experimented with many people, made them to do that. Even I don't know, now I have not tried that much. Even 2-3 years before, I could sit at a stretch 3 hours in Vajrasana and read a complete book or set of shlokas. So even twice if I would read, I would get the shlokas memorized. So it has, so just one example, like this Kurma Nadi, we have different nadis which are there for different things. So we understand sometimes various health aspects, health issues are happening because of blockages of these nadis. The blockage of nadi create an imbalance in the prana. It is very much understandable because prana is flowing to every place, in the whatever we have seen in the Annamaya Kosha, the physical bodies, the different systems, what we have seen, everywhere prana is required. There is a prana required for heart to function. There is prana required for pancreas to function. There is prana required for brain to function. Pranic vital life force energy is required everywhere, all throughout. So what we breathe, we think the breath is everything, but the breath what we breathe in goes inside and gets converted into energy, the prana. Right? In fact, there is already inherent prana shakti within the body, which is already there. This external stimuli of the breath, the shwasa that we inhale, the puraka that we do, the shwasa that we inhale from outside, when this goes inside, it triggers the pre-existing aspect of prana. I will come back to that in the next slide. I will tell you what is there already. There's a pre-existing prana, but that is inherent and that is potential. Making that potential energy to be kinetic is something very important. The shwasa does it, but it is already there in us. So it activates the inherent potential energy to become kinetic and make it move and reach all throughout the body in one or the other form. Now, when the prana goes around everywhere in the body through the various channels or the mediums of nadis, there can be blocks there. Blocks could be for various reasons, again, genetic issues or purva janma kritam papam. There are various nadis which are blocked because of the purva janma kritam papam, punyam, etc. What is the journey, whatever we have turned, the prarabdha and all our contributions or reasons for the blockages to be there in the nadis. So by doing various practices, first and foremost, of course, very simple and easy. The first day we have seen the ATP, anytime pranayama, Nadi Shuddhi pranayama. It helps the nadis to be cleansed. Nadir Vishuddhihi, it is very important in the Hatha Yoga Pratipika. When the Hatha Siddhi Lakshanam is discussed, when you do the asana pranayama, everything properly, what happens? Vapukrishatvam, the body becomes lighter, not leaner. Now, many people, when they see me, they ask immediately, you are a yoga teacher. Look at Sachin. He fits to be a yoga teacher because he is thin. What yoga teacher you are? Because they think body is looking big. It is not about the size of the body, but the flexibility of the body, the lightness of the body is important. Vapukrishatvam, vadane prasannata. Right? It could be thin. There are many thin boys and girls who would be roaming around. When you see their face, it is see. So prasanna vadanam dhyaye. Vadane prasannata. Vapukrishatvam, vadane prasannata, nadaspudatvam, nayane sunirmale, nadir vishuddhihi. So nadi shuddhi, which happens, all those finally Hatha Siddhi Lakshanam. This makes, of course, Bindu, the clarity of the Brahmacharya Shakti. We will come back to that. So all those put together, which helps in your Hatha Siddhi Lakshanam. Hatha Siddhi is what Hatha, again, that is what we are seeing here. In fact, in the slide you are seeing here, the right and left slides, right? Right and left. So these are the three kind of, you can see here the other, down there you see the picture here. It's small though. So center, we have the Sushumna Nadi. What flows to the center, right from the Kantasthana, what we saw, right? The bottom of the spinal cord. It is not in the spine. Don't confuse with the spine. Corresponding to the spine in the astral body or Sushma Sharira. The subtle body is where the Sushumna Nadi or even Sukshma Nadi it is there, Brahmanadi, it is there in the center part. To the right of it is the Pingala Nadi, to the left of it is the Ida Nadi, right? And where is it? So we see here the Sushumna Nadi, it carries the Kundalini Shakti and is located in the center of the spine. It runs through the first to 7 chakra, up to 6 chakra, it divides anteriorly and posteriorly. It controls most of our involuntary activities and is activated only whenever breath comes through both the nostrils. And then right side, the Pingala is also, which is called Surya Nadi, left Nadi. It is called the Ida or Chandra Nadi. It is not just the nostril. So some people get confused with the nostrils. It is not just the nostrils, but the nostril is definitely the entry point for this Nadi. Okay, I'll show you another slide where for each Nadi, there is an entry point in the physical body. The Navarandras, what we have, all those becomes the openings through which the prana enters or it exit. So the right, which is called Pingala or Surya Nadi, Ida, the left. I usually say, sometimes we, in Kannada, we say, Edagade, Tamil, Idadu Pakkam, the Ida, it is left. That is where it would have come from this Nadi, is what I say. So the Pingala, which is there in the right part of the Sukshma Sharira, is connected to the right part of the body. But in the brain, again, there is an interconnection with the brain. We know in the brain, we have the right and left hemispheres. So the Pingala Nadi or Surya Nadi is connected to the left hemisphere, which facilitates logical understanding, analytical brain, analytical mind. So the studies of maths, science, physics, etc., it facilitates here. Then on the left side is creative brain. So I'm sorry, the right side, it is creative brain. So the Ida Nadi, it connects to the right side of the brain, right hemisphere, which is creativity, art, language, music, dance, aesthetics, which is all connected to the left, right part. Again, in the nervous system, again, when we see, so we have the sympathetic and parasympathetic, which are there. So the right nostril, the Pingala Nadi, which is also called Surya Nadi, it is directly connected to the Surya Shakti. Left is lunar, the solar and lunar. That is where the sympathetic nervous system, the fight and flight mode, it is when you want to do something very active, more in active mode. So the right nostril is activated. The right Nadi is activated. Of course, the symptom is, you can see sometimes your right nostril is more active. And similarly, the calming activity of the parasympathetic, which is rest, relaxative mode, which is happening with the activation of the left nostril. So this is connected, right nostril connected with physical activities like sports, physical education. Left nostril connected more of cooling effect. It helps in digestion, and the left nostril helps in relaxation. So the pranayama, even when we see, we have the Surya Analoma and Chandra Analoma Viloma, right? So if you want to, people who want to reduce weight, we suggest the Surya Analoma Viloma, which is inhaling and exhaling only through the right nostril. 27 rounds in the morning, 27 in the afternoon, 27 in the evening, 27 in the night before going to bed. 27 into 4 becomes 108 in a day. So it helps in weight reduction for at least 48 days, 1 mandalam. If you do, it will give very good results. I have personally prescribed this to many people and they have got very good impact, right? I haven't experimented on me. I'm happy with what I am. So don't ask this question. Have you tried it on you? I have done prayoga of this. I have taught this to many people for many years. and but without stopping. Once you have stopped, again you start back and then go ahead with the cycle. One mandalam, if you do 27 into 4, pratar madhya dine sayam ratraucha. It is told in the Hatha Yoga scriptures. So morning, as in the early morning, pratar sandhya, then in the afternoon, the evening, then ratri before going to bed. 4 times when you do. Similarly, the opposite. People who want to put some weight, right? So what they can do, if only we can do some weight transplantation, like heart transplantation, like eye transplantation, weight transplantation, I would definitely would love to give. You know, some of you are there, you can join with me in doing this weight donation. We can all give some weight to Sachin, 5 kg from each of us, we can transfer to Sachin. So it is not possible. So for them to gain on their own, what they should do, left nostril breathing, which is the Chandra Anulom Viloma Pranayama. When we do inhale, exhale through the left nostril, it can help. Same 27 into 4 for 48 days will help in the left nostril activation, right? Some people who get angry a lot, like me. ಸೊ ತುಂಬಾ ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಕೋಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋರು, they should again do the left nostril breathing. People who are already very cool, ponal pogattum poda, is a Tamil song, ponal pogattum, let it go, let go. I'm going to talk about the let go attitude. In fact, there is a very nice, the book which I have here, see, let go. Udasina Baba, let go. But that should be there in a different stage, not at morning you have to get up, alarm rings. Why I should get up now, let me sleep for some more time. People who feel more dull, depressed, slow, now the climate, the weather itself is, if you see, you know, it's like this. So we feel, already we are all very calm, cool people. The weather also makes us to feel cool, more cool. Ayo, why to attend this class? Why to do this? Why to do this? You know, all those comes. So to activate, what we should do, right nostril. It gives you the solar energy, the Surya Anulom Viloma. If you're already very speedy, agitated, tensed, angry, then Chandra Anulom Viloma. So the balance of Surya and Chandra nadis in our body can help us in various bodily activation also, and even it helps in the brain level also in balancing the parasympathetic, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system is what we understand. So the Sushumna Nadi center, you know, and the Ida Pingala, the balance is very much important. Of course, the same is more given in this table also. I would share that more, you can understand the same what has been told there. One more table which I have, that's a pictorial representation. One more table here we have seen. So ultimately the aim, the goal of all the pranayama, is to make the Kundalini Shakti, what we see in the next aspect of chakras. So nadis, as we know, the nadis are the channels for the prana to flow, and there are energy centers. In the Sushumna Nadi, there are 7 energy generators. You can call them as energy generators. Means energy is there, but it makes it move further, generate more and more for various other functions of life to go ahead. These are called the chakras. So nadis are energy channels and chakras are energy generators or energy centers. So we see them that they are supposed to be on the Sushumna Nadi. From the Kandasthana of the nadis which are starting, as we saw, from the bottommost of the spine, from there to out of our skull, it is supposed to exist in a oval shaped, in a egg-shaped structure in the Sukshma Sharira. This is the actual alignment with which, when the child gets born, it is there, but it doesn't stay like that. The chakras are not in the same alignment in which they are supposed to be there. Again, that is another pranic imbalance. Due to this various pranic imbalances, the chakras also are not in the actual alignment. Now we have, earlier we had an instrument like the Kirlian photography, through which the energy, the subtle energies were photographed, right? The aura, they would call it as auro photography. Now we have something like the GDV in SVASA. We have in our research lab the GDV, which is gas discharge visualizer. This gas discharge visualizer, it will take just your the thumb impression. I think we put all the 5 of our fingers impression. There is a device in which if you press your all of the 5 fingers, it takes the graph from there, and then it will give you a clear scanning. It does a scanning of your Sukshma Sharira, and then it presents you the picture. In fact, maybe in the next class, I would show you that. I have not taken it. I have the photograph of my own aura, and for many people, we have done this experimentation using this GDV. So it gives you a clear-cut picture of your Sukshma Sharira, wherein in fact, this device was devised by some Russian scientist. It is they who had devised, and they had seen that the 7 different colored walls being represented within the body, right? And they were not able to interpret what it is. That is when our Indian scientists and traditionalists came to the rescue to say that these are nothing but the 7 energy generators. And just imagine, we in the ancient traditional text, we have different colors, for example, for each of those being told. It is Mooladhara, then it's Raktavarna. For Ganapati, we have deities also connected to each of the chakras. We can associate the colors with each of these deities, and then all those are there. So, but they have, when they calibrated that equipment, they could get these colors there. They were not knowing what does it all represent. But same time, what was found in those instrument in the initial stage, like the GDV, is there were 7 layers or balls which were indicated, but not in alignment. Some it is aligned, some it is haphazard. For one chakra would be, one ball would be here, for one it will be right, one would be left, right? Why? When you are not in proper attunement with your pranic energy, when there is a pranic imbalance, then these pranic generators, the chakras, are not in alignment. We understand that in the Mooladhara, which is the bottommost of these chakras in the Sushumna Nadi, in Mooladhara is where the potential, I told you in the previous discussion, that there's a potential energy which is inherent already there. Whatever the pranic process and everything, pranayam and everything we do, the dhyanam, the meditation, the nyasam, all those are to activate this inherent potential energy, which is what is called as the Kundalini Shakti, which is there in the Mooladhara. That's why it's called Mooladhara. That is the basic for the survival itself. From a basic energy center for the survival itself. From there, from the Mooladhara, through various yogic practices, we try to arouse this Kundalini, the inherent potential energy, to make it kinetic, to make it move in the upward, in the upward direction. It's called Urdhvaretas. When it moves upward, it is called Urdhvaretas. Right? Now, the why it is not in alignment for many people? Because according to for one chakra, in fact, I'll tell it in the next slide. Even here you can see in this slide what I have shared. For example, if you see this carefully, in the basic Mooladhara chakra, you see there is a mention of I am, that I am existing. I am in the, not in the spiritual sense. It is I am in the biological sense. I am existing there, my existence. From there, Swadhisthana, I feel. Manipura, I do. More of action, And then the Anahata chakra, when it comes, I love the emotions. Vishuddhi, throat, communication, I talk. Agnya, I see. And Sahasrara is I understand, right? So the higher sense of knowledge, cognition, and the Sahasrara. So for one chakra might be active, the other chakra might not be active. It depends person to person, again, for various reasons. All reasons we'll come to learn very soon. We are not so far. Actually, we are seeing the different symptoms, problems happening. Maybe in the Annamaya Kosha, maybe in the Pranamaya Kosha, but ultimately the reason lies in the Manomaya Kosha, which we are going to see very soon, right? But so for person to person, it varies. The chakras alignments are not in the same channel in which it is supposed to be. It is either left or right, up or down, right? So when they were not able to understand, but for Indian yogis, especially when they started looking into this energy scanning for Indian yogis, it became aligned for many people. It was, even I have seen in the initial days of when I started teaching in Adhyatma Yoga in Ragi Gudda, one of our MSc student was supposed to do an experiment with this. So we brought this instrument, nothing but a small device connected to our laptop. We can just connect it. And then for everyone, before the class, before this particular class, we would start. We would take their this acugraph records, 7 chakras, how they are positioned. 1 hour of asana, pranayama, dhyana, yoga, nidra, everything they have done. End of 1 hour, we see it comes to some alignment. Tomorrow, you see, it comes back to the same. Again, repeated. That shows just even the impact of 1 hour of practice, how it would bring your chakras to alignment. But it won't remain. I told you, right? Apraptasya praptam yogam, praptasya rakshanam kshem. To sustain what you got is very important. We get something. Now, in the class, we get a lot of knowledge. How do we sustain? By repeated practice. Abhyasa, dirghakala, nairantarya, satkara, sevito, drida bhumi. We have to keep doing. So, next day, it again comes down. Hey, what happened, Bhaiya? Yesterday, we saw that it has come after 1 class. Yeah, but repeatedly do. So, after 1 week, when you do, you will see a change. After 1 month or 48 days, we usually go by our measurement of mandala, all those things. So when you do 1 mandala and then when you see, then they stay for a long time unless you weaken the chakra. Again, you go back, if you're emotionally getting weakened, again, anahata chakra gets misaligned, right? If you are struggling for your basic survival itself, Manipura gets misaligned, right? So people who have mostly fertility issues nowadays, in fact, in our class, that it was very fun that time, because not fun, Papa, it's a problem for them. For me, it was fun. Most young crowd were coming that time. IT crowds were coming. Okay. And for many people, when we saw that this Mooladhara itself was very weak, then talking to them, counseling, we could understand for most of them, they're having problem with progeny, child issue and everything they're having. Mooladhara itself is weak. I'll come back to that, why it is, though it's not context here, but I'll tell you that why it is weak. Okay. So basically it is lack of brahmacharya. Until then, lack of brahmacharya, until you get into a grihastha ashrama, if you have maintained strict brahmacharya, which is one of the foremost yama, right? Then Mooladhara is going to be very strong enough. The problem is that lack of brahmacharya, and then you go into grihastha, then because the possibility of that particular seed of your progeny, your legacy, it is, we say, out of those thousands of cells of the sperms, only one which has the chance of becoming your progeny. Possibly it would have got exiting out of your existence much before than you actually get into a dhambatya. So that is where brahmacharya is very important. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa in fact says that the whole of this chakra system to be like imagine, in our house, in the morning, the Kaveri water comes. There is a sump which is there, the Kaveri water stored in the sump. You have a motor, the electric motor which is there. which rises up the water from the sump and stores in your overhead tank. What you are seeing, water is not coming now. Water is not coming. Why water is not coming? Because the overhead tank is empty. Why overhead tank became empty? I have put water, I have put the motor. At the same time, there was one pipe which was leaking at the, or which is open in your bathroom or in your kitchen or somewhere. Then water doesn't go up. It is already getting wasted here on the midway. So that is what is happening in today's generation. This energy, the Kundalini Shakti is nothing but, it is nothing but actual what is called a sexual energy, which gets converted into spiritual energy. Through the process of all our yoga sadhana, the whole of our yoga sadhana is nothing but converting this so-called sexual energy to be the spiritual energy. It is not just for the spiritual people, for every common man. Once you have stored it in the water tank, right? That's where in those days, Gurukula system, everything were there in the very younger stage itself. And marriages is also happening very early itself. You know, I'm someone who would definitely profess, I stand for early marriage for those who want to get into that. You want to be a sannyasi, you want to be a Naishtika brahmachari like me, no problem, you can be. If you want to get into a proper systematic grihastha, the right age is, you know, once you have attained your puberty, the right time, then the fertility and everything is at the higher rate. Then when you get into the progeny, it's very important, right? Now, people in the middle age getting into 30s and 40s and then getting married and then want to get into children, not happening. It is because the Mooladhara chakra is weak. In fact, one more, though not in this context, I will add to that also. We have Adhishtana Devatas for all these chakras. Mooladhara and Swadhisthana, these two are called Brahma chakras. Manipura Anahat are Vishnu chakras. Vishuddhi and Ajna Rudra chakras. Now I am sure many of you are regular in chanting the Lalita Sahasranama. Mooladharaika Nilaya. I'm not hearing. You can unmute and say if you know. Mooladharaika Nilaya.
Brahma Granthi Vibhedini.
Brahma Granthi Vibhedini. Manipurantarutita. Vishnu Granthi Vibhedini. Agya Chakrandarandasta. Rudra Granthi Vibhedini. Tatil Lata Samaruchihi. Shatchakropari Samstita. Mahashakti Kundalini. See. So the chakras come repeated many times in the Sahasranama as such. Lalita Sahasranama, because Lalita Tripura Sundari is nothing but the Kundalini Shakti. So she is there from the Mooladhara, she is alone there, coiled. The Kundalini, she is called because she is coiled. Like a tortoise, in those days we used to have the tortoise mosquito coil. Right? If you see, that is how Kundalini is symbolized as a serpent, coiled serpent. From there, once you arouse her, right, through the sadhanas, through the we have different bija mantras for the Kundalini awakening, which in our meditation course, energy engineering and all, which we would learn more. So through all those, then the Kundalini gets activated, moving from Mooladhara to Swadhisthana, where the Brahma Granthi gets broken. And further arousing up, Vishnu, Brahma is, what is the duty of Brahma? Who is Brahma? Brahma is Srishti Karta. So for our Srishti, this Laukika Srishti of your next generation to happen, you need to have the Mooladhara to be strong. In fact, Swadhisthana, little more, it is seat of Saraswati. Brahma Shakti is Saraswati. So creation, Mooladhara is creation, and Swadhisthana, I would say, is creativity. Right? And then moving ahead, Manipura. Manipura, where is the Manipura chakra? Again in the Nabhi. Right? Not exactly Nabhi, the subtle, it's in the subtle part, the corresponding to Nabi, the subtle aspect, subtle body, astral body, Sukshma Sharira, and that is connected to the Shakti of Vishnu. Vishnu is sustenance. Vishnu is Sthiti Karta. So that is where your sustenance is very much important. That is Manipura. Then further ahead, Anahata. Emotions for sustenance also. Just okay. I'm mechanically earning my money, doing my work, taking care of my family, doing this, doing that, all those, okay, you are doing without having the sense of feel. Then you are just a mechanical. There is no difference between you and the animals, right? And therefore, you need to just get into the emotional aspect of yours, which is the Anahata. Lakshmi, Sarva Sampat, for Vishnu to do his work, Sthiti to happen in a better way. You, again, as I told in the beginning, all the Ashtaishwarya, the Ashtalakshmi is important. And then moving ahead, Vishuddhi is your throat chakra here for better communication, for leadership. You have to excel, right? I am doing good in my work, but excellence, bring the leadership, bring that excellence for which communication is very important, which is Vishuddhi. And further, Agnya. The opening of third eye indicates the Ajnana Nashana, the burning of your ego. And then third eye, the Shiva is Samhara Karta. Samhara of what? Samhara of your Ahankara. Samhara of your selfishness. That Samhara, that Laya happens. And after this Agnya Chakra is opened, Rudra Granthi, the knot of Rudra is opened, then you move ahead to Sahasrara. That is where the Kundalini is complete ultimate manifestation of the prana, which is there, as it is stored in the overhead tank. From there, now supply, the Shakti happens, wherever it is required, in whatever form. Yes, it requires, the Shakti is required for your progeny to continue. It again comes down and helps it to happen. For communication to happen, it comes down again through the Vishuddhi and manifest. For your survival to happen, for your sustenance to happen, for your emotions to manifest, for whatever it is, it comes from the Sahasrara. From Sahasrara, what happens? Sahasrara Mujaruda Sudha Sara Vivashi. It becomes Sudha Sara. Sudha is here Amrita. That is where it becomes immortal. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. The Kundalini arousal makes you to become immortal. Not just in the physical body, but the manifesting our in the subtle aspects, it happens there. Right? So it's very important, the whole of our energy understanding in terms of the pranas, chakras, and Kundalini. So we see here wherever the chakras are positioned and what are their different functions. And of course, the modern understanding today, they try to correlate these chakras with the different glands and related hormone secretion as well. So the Mooladhara, which they call today in the modern terminology, I would not agree with this modern terminology, because the Sukshma Sharira is where subtler to the Stula. So you can't say it is heart, but okay, corresponding to the heart in the physical body, we say it is existing in the Sukshma Sharira. Therefore, okay, heart chakra or throat chakra or the third eye chakra, crown, whatever it is, and the corresponding glands to which they are connected to, the reproductive glands. It could be to the adrenal pancreas, the Manipura, thymus gland, the Anahata, the heart chakra, thyroid gland, the throat here, they say, and pineal gland, the third eye, pituitary gland, the Sahasrara, which is, and so corresponding enzymes or the hormone secretion is also facilitated by the activation of these chakras. And the imbalance which happens, the pranic imbalance in these chakras, also influence the hormonal imbalance. So most problems in yoga chikitsa point of view, if you see today, it is happening because of more of hormonal balance. Even the reproductive problem, what we spoke about, the fertility issues, are hormonal problems. the PCOD and again your menopause and all those are connected to the hormonal imbalance. Thyroid is very popular, very common today in most middle-aged people, men and women especially. Again, it is a hormonal imbalance, right? Diabetes, insulin, again a hormone. For all these to be ultimately stress, again the stress hormone secretion, which is the imbalance, which is most important, which influence the other chakras also to be imbalanced, and therefore the problems which are happening, right? So it is very important to understand the whole this with the understanding of the chakras and their positions, and their positions could be imbalanced. The imbalance in the pranic energy at different levels could impact over the chakras, and therefore the misplacement of chakras happens, which impact in your physical health as well, right? So for a disease which we are seeing, or a symptom which we are seeing in the physical body, the reasons could be from the pranamaya kosha in this aspect of the chakras, and the blockages in the nadis also could be the reason. So bringing these chakras to be in alignment through the sadhana, mainly pranayama, only see, you don't have to do anything much. Even one simple Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama itself can help more and more. We do Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama, can help in our chakras to be in the, proper alignment. And the energy which is brought in, the more you do pranayama, the Kundalini energy is brought, and that is where the sustenance of keeping it within, not letting it out. Therefore, brahmacharya is very important. Of course, the proper sexual transformation to dambatya is allowed very much, wherein the energy is getting again transferred into a new generation. So that is allowed, but not wastage. So brahmacharya is very important, through which straight away from Muladhara to Sahasrara, energy gets stored, and then automatically all the chakras come into attunement. Hope you are able to follow me. And so moving ahead, this is the most important aspect, the physiological aspect of the Pancha Pranas. Right? The Pancha Pranas, we have already heard: Prana, Apana, Samana, Udana, Vyana, which are there as the energies of our physiology. In the Annamaya Kosha, whatever the anatomical part we have, if they have to function in a particular way, it requires certain energies. So these energies are the physiological energies which are supplied by the Pancha Prana. So prana, the function of prana is respiration. It is mentioned here at nose. I would correct it. Not just the nose, but our whole of our respiratory system, right? Including our lungs, our the windpipe and all those things. So it's all the area of the prana. Though overall everything is called prana, this is a particular energy called prana. So this is connected to the function of respiration alone, and don't connect it with the overall something called prana. Okay. In our house, recently the uncle who passed away, you remember I was telling about the uncle who passed away. His name was Raman. He is a big boss. He is the first eldermost brother of my mother's family. His name is Raman. There is one of the uncle's son. One of my cousin is also called Raman. My brother, my elder brother is also Shriram. This is the same name thing. But ultimately when we say Raman, it is the main Raman, the uncle who is there. The same name, one of the cousin may also have here. Similarly, that Mukhya Prana, right? What we have already seen, the collective vital life force energy is prana. Here there is a particular aspect of that one, or the Pancha Prana, which is prana. This prana vayu, which is existing in the function of which is the respiration. Puraka Rechaka, inhalation, exhalation. Apana, excretion. So it is apana is downward. If you see this picture here, so you can see the pranic prana to be indicated in the middle portion here, the cross. So in the chest area, the lungs and everything, what you see is the prana. and then apana, which is downward. Here in the excretory system mainly, it is the apana. So even anything that excretion in different ways, belching, vomiting, all those are connected to nothing but apana. Again, udana, it is the reaction of pushing upwards, which maintains the heat of the body. So even all the ENT, ENT system, if you see, it is all because of udana which happens. So you see in the throat here and above, throat and ENT, it's all the udana prana, udana vayu, which is there mainly. And then samana, which is assimilation or digestion of food, which is in the central portion. The samana, which is represented by the dots here in the picture. If you see the your intestines and abdomen, the digestive system basically is governed by the udana vayu, the samana vayu, right? And vyana, which is all pervading in the whole of the body, which is nothing but circulation as such, circulation through the nerves, circulation of the blood circulation. So the cardiovascular and the nervous system are governed by the vyana vayu. So prana, apana, vyana, udhana, samana vayus are there in our pranamaya kosha. Of course, there are the upaprana, which I am not taking here, which is not that important in this context for us to learn or know. So, any imbalance here in the pranamaya kosha, in terms of the pancha pranas also impact our health. So, this is something very important for us to understand, for us to know, right? So here prana is in this context does not refer to the cosmic prana, as I already told, but just one flow of the energy governing the thoracic area between the larynx and the top of the diaphragm, the respiratory system as such, as what I mentioned. And apana, which governs the abdomen below the navel region. For the excretion mainly to happen, samana, between the heart and the navel. Again, for the digestion, udhana, the neck and head, the mainly the ENT, the sense organ, sensor receptors are governed by udhana, and vyana, the whole of the cardiovascular system governs the vyana prana. And so to understand that any of our imbalance in the pranamaya kosha impacts our health as such, which is very important for us to understand. We will I'll stop for a while here. If you have any, before we go into the next aspect today, into the manomaya kosha, if you have any questions so far with what we discussed regarding to the pranamaya kosha, you may discuss for a while, and then we would move ahead to the manomaya kosha.